So another thing, moving from loans now to future plans, future savings. A lot of people want to save up for their children, invest for their children. What's the first step to start that? What should we look out for? What should we do?
Okay, so there's two different directions you can take with saving for children. You can either save in your own name, with it earmarked for your child. You know that policy number, or that contract number, or that savings account is for child number one. Okay.
Yeah.
The other way of doing it is actually investing in that child's name. Okay, so you're obviously contributing. Your 1-year-old or 2-year-old is not earning an income, unfortunately. And the way you do that is, on the birth certificate, you'll have an ID number there. Right? Go to the bank, open a bank account, get these zero-fee bank accounts in most of the banks now. So there's not a cost incurred there. And normally you have to put maybe 50 Rand or 100 Rand in just to open the accounts. Okay. After that, what's vitally important is getting the child a tax number. Okay, so how you would go about that is by contacting SARS. If you've got a tax practitioner that works with you, they'll be able to do it really quickly and easily. Alternatively, you yourself can contact SARS directly, and they'll ask for a few details. One of them being ID number, obviously full name, and the other one being the bank account details. Okay, so once that's open, then you can start deciding which route you want to take in terms of investing.
And what is the best route? Is it investment? Is it education fund? Is it what is the best?
So there's no best routes. The fact that you're even considering it is already
positive.
Okay, yes, you can. There's wrong ways to do it based on certain people's scenarios, and there's right ways to do it. Okay, but we can go as far as taking out retirement annuities for our 1-year-old child. There's no reason why we can't do that. The fact of the matter is that retirement annuity is for when that child is over the age of 55.
Okay.
And in all honesty, that's not what you're probably going to be saving for. That could be a cream of the crop that you're looking for now when you've got extra money. Okay. What you would want though is generally to probably save for high school and university, because the reality is that when a child's in nappies and they're in creation, they don't cost that much in the grander scheme of things. Yes, they still cost, of course, but when it gets to high school, if there's sports involved, university, unless there's nice scholarships and all the rest like that, which would be great, but you can't plan for that. Then the costs really do start to dramatically escalate. Okay, so you do get wrappers, education funds, education plans. Those education plans are well marketed, I'll be honest with you. They're well marketed that look after your child's future, make sure the education is sorted. But there's no guarantee on there how much is going to be available. Okay, there's high fees attached to that. Fees, advisor fees, insurance fees, administration fees, investment management fees. Sometimes up to 4, 5, 6% of the investment value goes to fees.
Okay.
So that's meaning that you need 6% return before you even break even. Not really what you want to be doing in most cases. The benefit with those, however, is that there can be a life cover portion attached to it.
Okay.
Meaning that if something were to happen to you, at least then that child's education is paid for from that life cover portion. So there is a benefit there. My personal preference, just because I like options and fluidity and liquidity, is going with something like a unit trust, where we're going to try and get some return. Remember, this is going to be at least a 10-year investment before you're going to want to draw out of it. Okay, it's in the child's name. The child is now creating some sort of a net worth, back to credit record and credit score. You can possibly put that money in the child's bank accounts, and the debit also can come off the child's bank accounts. Showing now that child, even 1 or 2 years old, can fulfill monthly obligations. You invest in that, you can go with something a bit more aggressive because you've got that 10-year horizon and 10-year plan now from 0 till early high school or late junior school. So there's many different options, and there's, like the old saying, there's many different ways to skin a cat. You can choose different ways, but just make sure that you understand where you are now and where you're trying to get to with this plan. I think that's important, because somewhere along the way there's going to be a hiccup, and can you ride that wave and get through it to look after your child's future?
And we also need to consider the fact that now the child is 1, but in 18 years when they do go to university, what will the cost be?
Of course,
So interest and all of that is important.
So we have normal inflation. Okay, don't know, it's around 4% now apparently, but I see it more, costs going up 6, 7, 8%.
Yeah.
And then you have education inflation. Okay. That is quite easy to measure. So you pick a school that you want to send your child to today. You then go and look at the history of the fees over the last 5 years. You can easily work out how much the fees have gone up by from a percentage point of view.
Okay.
I can call that, or I like to call it education inflation. Okay, so you know how much those fees are going to go up. So we can quite easily project
how much it will be.
How much those fees will be in that. And that's going to be a big number if the child's 1 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if we're working towards that big number, we know what we're in for.
Yeah.
Okay. So just because it's a big number doesn't mean we need to shy away from it. Because burying your head in the sand is not going to get you anywhere. So you've got to do something about it. Yeah. And then obviously with those calculations, when I say it's easy for someone who knows what they're doing in that industry. So again, consulting someone who understands future value and time value of money is vitally important.
Yeah. As Sheldon mentioned, it doesn't help for you to run away from it because it's going to be such a big number. If anything, that should encourage us to start as soon as possible with as much as we can. So the next question we have is related to retirement. When you're planning for retirement, what is the best way? Retirement, annuity, savings plan, investment, what's the best?
Okay. So I think with retirement, again, people like to say, no, it's further down the road. I'll get to it one day. The reality is that the earlier you start planning for retirement, when I say plan, I'm not talking about doing it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about actually putting money away somewhere. Okay. The better. Okay. Yeah. So first, if you're thinking about putting 500 Rand a month away and you don't know where to put it, save it.
Okay.
Put it somewhere.
Okay.
Your savings account in your bank. It's fine. It's not the right way of doing it. It's not the best way of doing it. But you've got used to doing it. Okay. So that's step one, first and foremost. Then you need to understand what a retirement annuity is. Yes. You need to understand what a tax-free savings account is. You need to understand what a unit trust is. So those are the 3 different standard products
to go
for saving for a long term.
Okay.
Yes, we could buy a house. That could be our retirement plan. That's also a possibility. We could buy some special jewelry. That could be part of a retirement plan. There's elements of risk in those, of course. So depending on your risk appetite, we'll also determine which product is right for you. I may love to take risks. You may say, I'm risk averse and that's not for me. You know what I mean? It all just depends on who I am. And it doesn't, it's not because of income levels, it's not because of background,
but
it's
just
me
us as people.
As an individual. And I think that's important, that there's a human and emotional aspect that we've got to consider, especially when planning for retirement. So, to your question, which one is the best one? Okay. I'm going to use an example of an individual. Okay. It's an avatar individual, whoever that may be. This person works a corporate job. Okay. They have an engineering degree, or let's say they've had a diploma and they've managed to get into a degree. Okay. They've been working at this business. They've got a pension fund with the business.
Okay.
They don't know how much it's contributing on a monthly basis. They just know that that's there, and in their mind, I have enough for retirement. Okay. Could be the case, but there's no guarantee. Okay. So the step there for that person would be seek help. Not in that, but you seek advice from someone who understands it. Okay.
Yeah.
You've then got to build up that trust with that person, with this advisor that you're working with. Okay. Because you've got to show everything to this advisor. You've got to show your pay slip. You've got to show your liabilities. You've got to show your assets. You've got to literally open your books. Okay. Yeah. Which means you've got to have all this stuff in the first place. A lot of us don't have our pay slips available. A lot of us don't know what we own and owe. Okay. So that's the first step. Okay. Then when we look at that, we can then take it forward and say, okay, right, when I retire, I want the same amount I'm earning in today's terms until I die. Okay. So we don't know when we're going to die. But there's life expectancies for every person. Okay. So we work with that. Okay. So let's say as a male born between this sort of 85 to 95, I should die at 78. Okay. So I want to retire at 65. Okay. It means I need 13 years after retirement. I need income.
Yeah.
I need this income to go up by a certain amount every year.
Yeah.
And I want to earn the same amount that I'm earning today in retirement. On the assumption that all my liabilities have been settled.
Paid for.
Okay, so now we know what we're in for. I've got to settle all my liabilities while I'm working.
Yep.
Okay. I need X amount per month in future terms,
Yeah.
okay, which your advisor can then work out for you what brand value that is. That number's going to have a few zeros on it because we're 30 years or 25 years forward, okay? So you need to consider what I need to save to reach that goal, okay? You then need to consider what do I have already in my pension fund or in my personal savings, okay? That is then going to give us a monthly amount that I've got to put away until 65 to reach that golden number, okay? If that's put away with retirement annuity, that's fine. There's benefits, tax deductible, tax-free growth, all the rest. But when you take it out, then you've got to pay some tax on it. But you can consider that up front. You don't have to only get that fright at 65 like most people do.
Yeah.
You can also use a tax-free savings account for that, up to the limits of 36,000 Rand a year.
Yeah.
You can use a unit trust. Obviously, with that, the returns you make, there's some tax implications on it, but that's fine because you're building it into your plan from the beginning.
Yeah, so you know already what to expect.
Which way to go. So you ask me which is the best way. There's no best way.
Okay.
The worst way is not to have that plan in place. If you've got that plan in place, then you can find the best product for you as an individual. Okay. We also need to understand that there's consistency required here.
Yeah.
You're 25 and you start with something at 65. If you stop at 30,
you lose it.
For whatever reason, that money's still yours, right?
Oh, okay.
It's still there for it. So you don't lose that money. It's still in your name. It's not gone. It doesn't just disappear. Okay. It's still there, but you're not contributing anymore. Which means if you start to contribute 2 or 3 years later, you can't go back and contribute the same amount you were going to contribute.
You have to increase.
You've got to now revisit this, redo these calculations, and add on. You've lost 3 years there, so you're going to have to add on a fair amount. Okay, so the whole thing there is the plan must be in place. There must be a consistency to it, and that plan needs to be reviewed once a year at an absolute minimum.
Okay.
Personally, quarterly, you should be reviewing your plan. Even if you review it internally and then you only meet once a year with an external person, that's okay. But quarterly, you need to be looking and relooking and understanding why this is important. Because from a mental point of view, to save for something 40 years away, it's
too far.
Yeah, to get your mind around that is quite difficult. So you've got to consistently reassure yourself why you are doing this. You know? None of us want to be dependent on people
coming to help
you out
in that.
Yeah, when you retire, you're already vulnerable.
Yeah.
Your health isn't at the peak
best.
anymore. And now you don't have money to pay for the things you need.
Yourself,
you know, it's a situation none of us want to be in, but the reality is the vast majority of the world, not just Africa, is in this position.
Let's say you started off with a retirement annuity and for whatever reason, maybe you speak to an advisor and they say, actually, the unit trust is better. What are the implications of taking the money out of the retirement fund and putting it in the unit trust?
So, if the retirement annuity's value is greater than 7,000 Rand, that's the current value, you cannot move it out of there. Okay, you can move it to another retirement annuity, which is a whole different conversation.
But you can't withdraw.
But you can't actually withdraw that until you get past the age of 55.
Okay.
So you could stop the contributions and start contributing to the unit trust. There's nothing wrong with that if it makes sense for your situation. But that money in that retirement annuity can sit there
until 55.
Yeah, at a minimum, or until you withdraw it out after 55.
And then while it's there from 35 to 55, will it still be growing without you?
Yes, so there's aspects to consider here. There's investment fees that are still going to come off there every month. There's advisor fees that are still going to come off there every month. There's administration fees that are going to come off there every month. I've seen some at 6, 7, 8% per month. Ridiculously high. I've seen some at 1.5% per month. That's on an annual basis, but taken off on a monthly.
Bit by bit,
Okay, so that is going to erode the growth. Let's say you're getting growth of 8% on the investment on the unit trust, the fund that it's in, on the retirement annuities fund that it's in. It's in a balanced fund that's got some equity and some property. It's in that fund. It's going to get some growth, say at 8, 9, 10%, but the cost of it being in there is 2, 3%. You know, subtract those two, and that's what your growth is going to be. And I've heard some stories where people have said they stop paying into their retirement annuity at 35. by the time they got to 55, they had R1 million they didn't even know they had. I've heard the same story where someone said, I had R1 million at 35 and I've got 100,000 Rand because of all those fees. So it all depends on the product that you're in.
You picked.
And it's not that one insurer's got a better product than the other. It's just that each insurer has got different types of products.
That you
can pick from. And it's a matter of understanding those products a bit more. Not being sold on something, but rather being advised on something.
And then picking what you believe is best.
Correct for you.
Okay. So we had some questions from some of our viewers regarding tax-free accounts, tax-free savings.
Sure.